This dog Podee is fearful of other dogs. In the past, he's run away from other dogs, but when he's on leash, he growls and lunges. Ideally, I would desensitize and countercondition him by moving far away from the other dog to a distance where Podee barely reacts and will readily focus on me. Unfortunately, you can't always systematically control the distance of other dogs, especially on walks. In the emergency situation where the other dog's too close, I use the gentle leader head collar to guide Podee into a sit where he focuses on me so that I can reward him for sitting at attention. This is negative reinforcement, but my goal in using it is to get Podee under some control so that I can use positive reinforcement. It's essential that positive reinforcement be used even in the emergency situation if I hope to progress beyond this step. Notice that I can only take several steps at a time. If I take more than that, Podee will try to pull away and lunge after the other dog. I try to keep him moving to help keep him focused on me, and I take steps backwards because it's easiest for him to look at me if I'm right in front of him. I'm having to use quite a bit of gentle leader pressure because this is an emergency situation and the dog is still within a block of Podee. It's the only way to keep Podee under control until the other dog goes away or I get Podee far enough away so he's not as aroused. He doesn't have the outdoor foundation needed to be counterconditioned to dogs outside yet. Even in the absence of other dogs outside, he doesn't focus well on his owners. Podee's already gone through the learn-to-earn exercises in the house. Now it's time for him to work on variations of these exercises outside. In order to countercondition Podee to dogs outside, I first have to get him to focus on me and perform exercises he enjoys outside. I turn healing into a game and periodically reward watching me. This isn't just about giving treats for attention, it's about moving in ways that make it fun for the dog. Dogs like MTV, not Masterpiece Theater, so if I hope to make this fun for him, it has to be fast-paced and exciting. On a walk, he doesn't have to look at me like this all the time, but I need to be able to get this type of attention when there's a distraction, such as another dog. Now we introduce Podee to another dog. As soon as I see the dog, I should get Podee focused on me. Because it's easier to keep his attention when you're doing sits with him in front of you, we go back to this exercise. Like on the first day, I can only take several steps at a time, but now Podee's very focused on me. If I take more than several steps, he starts to look at the other dog, and I sometimes have to use a tiny bit of gentle pressure to guide him to look at me. We work closer and closer to the other dog, and then around the dog.
He looks pretty good, huh?
Oops, here the dog gets loose and is right in Podee's face. Once Podee sniffed the dog for just several seconds, I call him away and move away immediately so he follows before he decides he's scared. Now that Podee's met the dog, he's more relaxed and stops focusing on the other dog. The total training time has only been 10 minutes. At this point, I know I can let Podee loose with this dog to play in a yard because I've done this with several dogs this week. Here's how Podee is with dogs after he's been counter-conditioned to them. He's even good with this dog who plays too roughly and has poor social skills. Because it's his first time off leash with this dog, Podee's wearing a muzzle.